and I was considering all options.
It seems like Meri's pretty much disappeared from Sister Wives. She's barely been in the episodes this season, and you'll never believe the reason why.
I can't control what he thinks or feels.
So guys, the new season of Sister Wives started a couple of weeks ago.
I'm gonna leave Cody.
And for some reason, Meri has been almost completely absent from the season so far. She's been treated pretty badly so far by the show and the whole family.
There's just nothing to talk about, really.
I mean, the fact that she's barely been in most of these episodes seems pretty indicative of her place in the family in general, and unfortunately for Meri, it seems like she's just kind of irrelevant to the rest of them, but there's actually a lot more going on with her behind closed doors.
Fortunately, the struggle is real.
So one of the things we found out in the recent episode was that Meri's mom, Bonnie, was really sick, and sadly, Bonnie ended up passing away, which we saw in the recent episode, and it was really devastating to watch. Obviously, losing a loved one is never easy for anyone, but there was even more to it than that.
Like, I am so sad and I just don't even know what to do.
The episode when we found out about this started with a family video call, and everyone was talking about the drama surrounding the kids and all of Cody's bizarre COVID rules, and well, not everyone was talking because Meri pretty much stayed completely silent the whole time, and she was kind of just there, but she didn't get really, involved in the conversation at all, and this kind of makes sense because most of the debate was about Cody not being willing or able to see his kids, but he and Meri only have one kid, and Leon is 27, and they don't live with their parents anymore. So, there really wasn't much that Meri could have contributed to that discussion, and still, it seemed pretty weird that this was one of the first times she actually got some screen time, but we still barely heard her say anything. And this changed about halfway through the episode, though. And that was when we got into the really sad part. We saw Meri in her car rushing to the hospital to see her mom, and the hospital was a 5-hour drive away, and it really looked like Meri was barely holding it together, and this is completely understandable. Meri found out that her mom, Bonnie, had been in the hospital for 2 days, and that apparently realized that she had been having an extended heart attack this whole time. And Meri knew that it was likely that her mom would pass away soon, and she really wanted to get to the hospital before then. But sadly, that didn't happen, and Meri was about an hour away from the hospital when she got the call that Bonnie had passed away, and it was genuinely really sad to watch. I mean, Meri broke down in her car, and it all just happened so quickly and unexpectedly. She didn't know what to do or how to even begin to process the news, and you could really see that she was just having an extremely difficult time. But there was another side to this moment in the episode that I honestly found really strange and kind of insulting towards Meri. But after we got the news about Bonnie's passing, we then saw everyone talk about her and how much they loved her, and Cody said that she was the sweetest lady, and Robin said that Bonnie always made her feel welcomed, and Christine talked about how Bonnie helped her with her relationship with her own mom after she left the church, and it was clear that everyone loved Bonnie. But that's what made this one thing even worse, because someone on Reddit pointed out that Meri was treated kind of badly by everyone in this episode because she found out that her mom was really sick and might not make it, which meant that she needed to get to the hospital that was 5 hours away. And while she was in this highly emotional state, you would think that someone would be willing to drive her there. And this was obviously an extremely serious and difficult situation, and I just felt like Meri shouldn't have been driving on her own like that. And I mean, you could see that state she was in. She clearly wasn't feeling great at all, and I don't think it was really safe for her to be driving, especially not that far. And plus, I'm sure she could have used the emotional support, so I feel like it's kind of insulting that no one went with her. And they always talk about how the best part of being in a plural marriage is that you never have to do things alone, and that there are always, other people who can help out with things. And I get that Christine and Janelle were out of town, so they couldn't have gone with Meri, and I honestly think that Janelle might have gone with her if she had been there. But anyway, Cody and Robin were there, and Cody could have easily gone with Meri, and she clearly could have used someone that would be willing to drive with her. And I know that, they don't, exactly have the best relationship, but Cody and Meri are still married, and this was such a serious situation. So I feel like Cody should have just gone with her, but instead, she had to drive there on her own while she was in that super emotional state, and I just feel like that was super rude, and it made me really upset for her. And I understand that Cody has all these self-imposed COVID rules, but I think he should have made an exception for this. And Robin could have stayed at home and taken care of the house and the kids while he drove Meri to the hospital, And if he was afraid of bringing COVID back to the house, he could have just isolated himself for a couple days after they got back. And I just don't think it was right for him to leave Meri to drive to the hospital on her own. And it really shows how no one in the family really cares about her anymore. And they don't actually treat her like family at all. And she's pretty much become an afterthought. And I really think she needs to leave. And at this point, I just can't understand why she would still want to stay. But it does actually look like she might be distancing herself from the family, because Meri's recently dropped some hints about this on her social media. And when this episode airs, she went on Instagram and shared a touching post about her mom. And she did mention being alone in the car that day. And there's also the fact that she's barely even, been on the show so far this season. And she was almost completely missing from the premiere. And the others did briefly mention her when Christine said that she didn't want her and Cody to have what he and Meri had. But that was pretty much it. And I think that the reason that she's not been in this season all that much is she's slowly been putting some distance between herself and the rest of the family. And she recently posted this photo of herself on Instagram. It was a photo from her trip to Mexico, and she wrote this long caption about how people should do the things they wanted to do in their life and how little changes can mean a lot. And it really seems like she has been making a lot of little changes recently. And I mean, she seems to be having the time of her life in Mexico, and I'm actually super happy for her. And a lot of people were theorizing that she might be the next person to leave Cody, and I honestly think she could be. I mean, given what she's been doing recently, I really hope that she will leave him if she hasn't already, but no one in that family treats her right, so I just don't see the point in her staying. But what do you guys think? Did you watch the episode, and do you think, Meri might actually leave Cody? Well, let me know in the comments below.